First things first, I'm guessing you are still coming down from a bit of a Sundance high.
I am still on cloud 9 right now.
You're still on cloud 9.
Yeah, I think it has.
I mean,
really
it couldn't
set
have gone better.
It really, honestly, my highest hopes for Sundance was actually getting in. And
just getting in?
Just getting into Sundance. I've never been before. It was my first time, and literally, it just kind of
exceeded expectations.
All expectations. I mean, the bar is really high.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, before you got here, I was saying that Fruitvale won the Audience Award and the Grand Jury Prize.
It did.
Which is insane.
Which doesn't normally happen.
No, I think it's happened once. It happened with Precious.
It happened with Precious. I think we're the fourth film ever to do that in the history of Sundance, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. For people who don't know, the Audience Award gets voted on at the premiere. They give out, at every screening, actually, they give out a ballot, and you pick, you rank it like 1 to 4.
Okay.
I voted best, which, so I helped contribute. I think you all did, right? Did you get to vote?
No, I didn't even know they were doing votings at all.
They handed out ballots. And so that's how the Audience Award is picked. And then the Grand Jury Prize is like this esteemed panel of filmmakers. So the fact
board.
but the fact that, a movie can resonate with the audience and also with this like esteemed panel of the board.
So many times, like the board doesn't really, doesn't always necessarily agree, right. Or they come with, a different, like a judging.
They're looking at the filmmaking
exactly.
where the audience is wondering how they felt, So it's only the beginning for you with Fruitvale, because this next year is just going to be, the movie's going to be released, there's going to be the real premiere, there's going to be hopefully Oscar season, so this is just the beginning of the Fruitvale journey.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing.
It is, just to kind of see it come, come to fruition, from reading it.
Yeah, tell me how you got involved with Fruitvale. Was it just a script that came across?
Yeah, it was. I just got back from doing Chronicle out in South Africa, and I was talking to my team about what I wanted to do next, and literally a gritty independent was on my slate, something that I really wanted to do.
Right.
Because you just kind of want to strip away the bells and whistles and just get down to the grittiness of acting.
Yeah, challenge
character.
yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I've never. I've never been a lead of a film before.
Right. This is your movie. This is the Michael B. Jordan show, for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was just definitely something that, I felt as though I was mature enough and ready to kind of tackle that, that obstacle. And, my agency, Scott Schachter, did a great job with tracking this project down. Actually, Ryan was in the Sundance Film Lab with a friend of his who just so happened to work at UTA.
Right, Ryan Coogler. He's the writer-director
from Fruitvale.
Really talented.
And he, after meeting him, he told me that he wrote the project in the beginning with me in mind.
Really?
Which was, a big compliment.
It's the biggest compliment.
It was like, really? You knew who I was and you actually wrote it for me? Okay, that was pretty cool.
What was it, Friday Night Lights or The Wire? Or
I think it was Friday Night Lights and The Wire. It was kind of like, he's been tracking my career for since kind of like the beginning,
right.
And he told his friend that he was interested in me playing Oscar. She said that she worked at UTA, and she said that she would get it to Scott Schachter, my agent.
Wow.
She literally delivered the script, to Scott, and he forwarded it over to me. I read it. I cried 2-3 times.
I'm sure.
Just reading
Oh man,
it.
yeah.
And we set up a meeting, sat down with Ryan. As soon as we had that conversation, it was just a no-brainer. Just kind of like, here when it's unique when you meet a director that is collaborative and kind of is open to change and knows exactly what he wants.
Right.
It's a fine line between a director getting exactly what he wants.
And you're almost the same age too, so you probably just clicked.
Yeah, we vibed out. We definitely vibed out, and it just made perfect sense.
And so you mentioned he was in part of the Sundance Lab.
Yes.
So this was like almost like a class project for him, right?
Pretty much.
The script.
This was his senior project over at USC, and then it got the attention of his professors and Forrest Whitaker, and then it got it got accepted into the Sundance Film Lab and flushed it out. Sundance was very generous to us throughout the shooting process. They gave us several grants, to get our film made. This is definitely a project that they believed in.
So that's like full circle. Sundance Lab to then win Sundance.
Pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
And so Forrest Whitaker, when did he get involved?
He got involved in the early process of getting the script, developed, early producing, getting the team assembled. Nina Yang over at Significant Productions, she got everybody in line.
Right.
Everything worked out great.
And so now when did Octavia Spencer get involved? So Octavia Spencer plays your mother in the movie.
Yeah, she came on board right after I was attached. Right after I got on board with the project, they went out. I think they wanted to lock down Oscar first and then kind of assembled everybody else around myself.
So, do you think Octavia winning Best Supporting Actress helped this movie get made?
100%. I think definitely that clout between two Oscar winners, between Forrest and Octavia,
and Forrest Whitaker.
Definitely, it helped a lot when you're shooting a movie for under $1 million, and you wanted to the best quality possible, and shooting at the real locations and getting favors called in, having those two people making those phone calls and writing emails and letters, definitely it can help out.
People don't realize sometimes, they wonder, so someone won an Oscar, like it's just an award on their shelf, but it really enables that. It gives them the opportunity to make those smaller movies in between the big blockbuster movies.
100%.
And that's sort of how the career works. It's like you make the big movies
for certain
to make
reasons,
money,
to make money. You do things for the passion. You do, you do certain films for certain reasons.
Yeah, Fruitvale feels like a passion project. I mean, everything about it. And so you just said you shot at the real location?
Yeah, we shot literally where Oscar worked at.
Really?
The BART platform where he was shot at and killed, literally on the same block where the bullet hole is still there. They never repaired it. They never moved it. It's like still on the platform. We shot right over that. It was a very intense, shoot. It was very real, and it was
I'm surprised that the subway station let you guys shoot there.
Uncle Forrest kind of came in. And,
that's where Forrest Whitaker comes in.
Uncle Forrest kind of, he put a little...
Because it doesn't show them in the best light. It doesn't show the Fruitvale station, but I guess it's a story that they know is important that needs to be told.
100%. It's something, and it's not their proudest moment, and it's like, whatever they could do to kind of help rectify the situation and, and move on and move forward and show their support to the community. I think that was the biggest thing for them, and they definitely stepped up in a big way for allowing us to shoot there as much as they did.
Yeah. So for most people haven't seen the movie yet because it's not out yet. But for people who haven't seen it, to explain who Oscar Grant is. Who is this guy?
Oscar Grant is a 22-year-old Bay Area, kid who was, coming home from San Francisco on New Year's Day with his best friends and his girlfriend at the time, and he was detained, beat, handcuffed, and shot in the back, murdered by the BART Transit Police, and it was all caught on video footage by the train passengers, and that's kind of what sparked the uproar. It went viral. You couldn't, turn a channel without actually seeing it. It was all over the internet, and then it became nationwide, and it became a big deal. But the movie takes place the last day of his life. So the movie is the last 24 hours of his life. Yeah. And
it starts with the actual footage from somebody's cell phone capturing the real.
The most like the most famous angle. It starts off with that because we wanted to let the audience know right off the top that this is what happens, and we're not going to beat you over the head with the obvious, so you already know what's going to happen in the end. But we wanted to show sometimes when there's a case between, a guy and a police officer shooting, somebody loses their life, that person's always depicted in either the worst light possible, or a complete saint, right? And we really wanted to, just have him. We wanted to show his humanity. We wanted to give him his humanity
back. He's a real person, with flaws.
And all. Yeah. He's not a perfect person, but it's in the trying. Oscar was trying to get his life together. He was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to rectify so many relationships in his life. Yeah. With the people that he most cared about, which was his mom, his daughter, and his fiance. Yeah. And his friends. And we really wanted to show how he was with everybody, and just showed it in a real way.
Yeah, and so it is the last 24 hours of his life, but you guys used flashbacks to give even more.
To give you more of an idea of background. Of kind of the person that he was and where he was coming from and the type of things that he's been through. To kind of, it's all about layers. We wanted to show the layers of Oscar. Everybody. I mean, Brett, I could ask 5 of our friends what they think about you, and you'll get a variation. Everybody will have
hopefully
their own.
Good things.
Hopefully good things, but it'll all be different. Different things. So we can't judge one person off of one's perspective. So we wanted to get a cumulative perspective of Oscar and just kind of blend that in and make the realest version that we could. And, and that's exactly what we did.
Usually in a movie, there's the good guy and the bad guy. That's what was so interesting about Fruitvale, and that's why that character was so complex, and that's why your performance was so impressive because of the layers. So my first reaction was, you start out, you're charming, you're great with your daughter in the movie, and, you're always flirting with your girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. You're not married in the movie. So, and then, you're a good son to your mom, and you're trying to, make her birthday great on that day, and you're helping your sister out by getting her the card, and so you're this good guy, and then, you go to the supermarket where Oscar used to work, and you're flirting with a girl at the deli counter, and then on a dime, you have an altercation with your former boss. And I remember I was sitting there in the theater, and I was just like, how did he do that? It's like, I don't even think the camera cuts. You walk down the aisle in the supermarket, and you're a different person. And I was like, where did Michael get that from? It was like, charming and flirtatious, and then intimidating and scary. And
that was one of the things that we kind of set out to do. We wanted to show we really. I wanted to do it as a winner.
Yeah, it felt like it.
And that's how we shot. We shot a couple takes of it as a one.
Yeah, you just feel like you're along for the ride. You don't even notice the camera's cutting. You're just sort of traveling with this guy.
That's exactly that's the feel that we were going for. Yeah. Rachel Morrison is a great DP. She really and camerawoman. She was our camerawoman as well.
Yeah,
she just really handled it very well. But we really tried to get it as a oneer, and with him walking in, his interaction with his best friend, with the girl, with the boss, and then the total 360 when he leaves, how he lies to his friend to kind of keep him at ease. He doesn't want to make. He was trying to please everybody.
Right, and he wants his old job back so he can get his life back in order. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, so it was one of those. It was one of those scenes that we definitely prided ourselves on, trying to show as many different sides of Oscar in one scene as we could.
Yeah, and throughout the whole movie, my Twitter review, I only had 140 characters. I was saying to Adrian Bellani, I'm like, I need more characters to write this. But I said how the character goes from charming to intimidating to heartbreaking, and it's just this roller coaster of emotions. And when you see Oscar with his daughter, it's just, and what's coming, and he's telling her he's going to bring her to Chuck E. Cheese the next day. That's when everyone starts crying, and then through the rest of the movie, it's
what happens. Sometimes a father that's not around, and he feels bad, because he's always gone. He was in and out of jail a lot, and he missed a lot of his daughter's life. Sometimes when you come back in, you want to make those, anything that you want.
Moments,
Any of those moments that, Chuck E. Cheese, let's go do that. Not necessarily meaning that he planned on, not doing it or following through. He was going to do that.
Yeah.
He was going to take her to Chuck E. Cheese. And those are the type of moments that, as a young parent, or even as when you get older, sometimes you just you lose track of time and you want to hold on to those moments.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to show that.
How did you access playing a young father? Where did that come from? How did you relate to the daughter so well, and having a kid if you don't have kids in real life?
No kids in real life.
Right.
Not on some tight wood.
Right.
I'm good right now. I'm good. But honestly, it was. I have a lot of little cousins.
Yeah.
And,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about my nephew when I was watching it.
Little cousins and stuff. You try to substitute different relationships, and that girl Ariana, the actress
Amazing.
that played Tatiana, she was so good, and she was so giving. Her eyes are just so present. So it was very easy to kind of have that connection. And then it's just how would you feel? That's your daughter. You just try to take your life experiences and just try to apply them as much as you can to those situations, and hopefully, and you just hope that it comes off the way the realistic.
Well, I think the father-daughter relationship is what stuck with people and why it was so popular and why it got the audience award on top of everything else. And not to give too much away from the movie, but I do want to mention one more scene. It flashes back to the character in prison with his mom. I mean, you and Octavia Spencer just facing off in this prison scene. I mean, what was that like?
That was
intimidating.
That was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah. It's the scariest because we see a temper in the Oscar character in the past.
Yeah, he has a short fuse.
Short fuse.
He has a very quick trigger, and it's that was something that was unanimous between all of his friends. Anybody I talked to, that was something that everybody said.
Yeah,
that, Oscar, he.
But it wasn't completely out of nowhere. He was defending himself.
Yeah, he has a reason. He was a hothead sometimes. Yeah. He could definitely get there when he needed to get there.
Right.
And it was one of those scenes where me and Coog, everyone. Not to get off topic or get off, the scene or whatever, but every scene, me and Ryan, we approached every scene like it was its own movie.
Yeah. The prison scene does feel like its own movie in a way.
Yeah, we wanted to have every scene to have its own beginning and end.
Yeah, exactly.
And Octavia was so challenging.
She's so good in this movie too. I really think she could get nominated again, even though she just won for The Help. it was one of those things where you see somebody and you're like, okay, that wasn't a fluke. You know?
Exactly. Like, she's the real deal, you know?
Real deal.
And for me, just to kind of go up against her, it was fun. You know, we had a really, really good time shooting that scene, and we only had limited hours, you know, because we shot actually in San Quentin.
Oh, really?
We shot in the prison.
Was that the prison he was there?
Yeah.
So that's really, like, you had the spirit of him all around you.
All around, man. That's something that I definitely prayed a lot to him, meditated, and asked for his presence around me, because there was no video, no audio of him. It was just like, hey, man, just be with me when I do this, because I'm representing you right now.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how I like approached every like scene, and
And in the Q&A after the movie, Octavia said the same thing, that, you know, she doesn't have children in real life, but she accessed, you know, nieces and nephews to play your mother. Yeah. You know, and it's, I mean, again, I don't want to talk too much about it, so I'll ruin the whole movie. But I mean, there are scenes where she has to go to places that are just heartbreaking. Like, I've never even. I mean, some movies shy away from showing the kind of stuff that they showed her going through in this. But what else was I going to say? Oh, so at the premiere, the real family of Oscar Grant was at the screening. So I had no idea. I mean, I heard people crying throughout the movie, thinking it was, you know, Sundance moviegoers, not realizing that rows and rows of people sitting right around you were Oscar's real family.
I sat right behind his mom.
Did you know that it was his? That they were there?
Yeah. I mean, when I walked in, you know, I said hello to everybody, spoke to everybody, and this was the last time I seen them was.
Oh, you had met them. Oh, okay.
I spent just to give you a little, you know, my prep was, you know, I spent a lot of time with his mom and his daughter and his girlfriend and all his best friends. That was my homework. That was how I became Oscar, was getting to know him through his friends and the people that knew him the best. Yeah. You know, hanging out, barbecues, you know, drinking, playing dominoes with his boys, just reminiscing, just kind of hearing the stories about how he used to be and what they used to do and stuff like that. And, you know, trying to, you know, spend time with his daughter a little bit, just kind of get a vibe on her.
So they cooperated. Because I feel like a lot of times a movie based on a real person, you can't access their family. You can't really get to anybody.
Because you know, I mean, once a tragedy like this happens, first of all, you have to be respectful of the family. And then there's so many people trying to, you know, be opportunistic people that's coming around trying to take advantage of the situation. Right. And the one thing that we had that no other filmmaker had was the fact we had Ryan Coogler, who was from the Bay Area, that was 6 degrees and 6 people away from the family. He knew people who knew Oscar. He knew the story very well. And when you talk to Ryan, you believe in him. Yeah. He has the type of person. He's that type of personality where you believe in him.
Oh yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it was one of those things where you know, he definitely made the family feel comfortable enough to, like, you know, give him permission to do this story.
Yeah, and it's an important story that I'm sure they want told, and, you know, it does show. I mean, it shows his flaws, but it generally shows him as a good person. You're rooting for him.
Definitely. Right. Definitely. So, like, basically his mom was sitting in front of me. Yeah. Said hello to everybody, you know, sat down, and during the whole movie, you know, I'm just looking at them, looking at the screen.
Had they seen it before?
Nah, this is the first time they've seen it.
Had you seen it?
I saw it one time prior to that, but this is the first time I've ever seen it in a big movie theater with, like, the lights and the music and all that stuff. So it was like my first time seeing it again. Mm-hmm. And I keep checking in on them, seeing, like, you know, I see them talking to each other, and I'm trying to, like, eavesdrop and hear what they're saying. I'm trying to, like, really, like, you know, pay attention, because I'm so nervous, because their validation is everything. Yeah. It's everything.
The only review that really matters.
Only review that really matters to me and Ryan was the family. Honestly, at this point.
And for them to have to sit through it, I mean, not only are they watching his life, but they're reliving the tragedy. So
exactly.
That the fact that they were able to sit there and do that, I had no idea they were there until the Q&A.
Okay.
And when they stood up, I was like, oh my gosh, it was already emotional. Woo! And then they stand up. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Well, the mom doesn't really talk. Wanda doesn't speak that often.
She's the father. Yeah, the uncle.
The uncle, yeah. Right. Her brother and sister do most of the talking on her behalf. Yeah, because she's just kind of like, you know, she's been through the ringer, you know, and I can only imagine what it's like losing, you know, like that way. And
did Octavia work with her, or
they spoke. They had a couple dinners. You know, they spent their time.
That's amazing.
Together. Everybody had their own process and had their own opportunity to go individually with, you know.
That's really interesting
to kind of, like, you know, get their homework from.
Right.
And, like, my biggest thing, honestly, of that premiere was when his aunt stood up and said there were certain scenes in the movie where I couldn't tell the difference between my nephew and you. Oof. It just kind of, you know, yeah.
What did that feel like? So when the movie ends, the lights come on, everyone was applauding. I think everyone stood up, and then, you know, you go down there for the Q&A with Octavia and Ryan Coogler, and you're just
goosebumps. Yeah, hot flashes, emotional,
out of body experience.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to hold back emotions, not trying to cry in front of all those people.
Yeah, you guys held it together.
Trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
And then you hear those, you know, type of comments. It's just like, it wasn't that many questions. Everybody just wanted to tell us.
That was what was really interesting. There wasn't really much to ask. It was a girl sitting right in front of me stood up. She said she's from the Bay Area. Yeah. She's never seen a movie about.
So you were up left.
Yeah, I was behind you to the left. Yeah. And so she was saying, she's never seen a movie represent where she's from so, so realistically. Yep. She's like, I'm from there, I know that world, and you captured it, and thanked you guys.
Exactly. Everybody was just thanking us for just telling the story, and that was just like, it was very humbling. The whole experience is very humbling.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Octavia, she said some interesting things, too, in the Q&A about how it was the most diverse crew she's ever worked with. Asian, gender and race and
Mexican,
everything.
White, black, just all over the place. Everybody, everybody was just... that's one of the things about the Bay is being so diverse. It's like a melting pot, similar to New York. You have so many different cultures, all living together in harmony, but sometimes you have your feuds.
When they're on the train, it's a mix of everybody.
Exactly. So it's like, the crew was definitely a reflection of the story in a way, people coming together, and doing something great. Yeah.
It was an amazing thing. The whole thing. I'm so glad I got to be there, for real. Adrian was there and Erica Mario was there.
Yeah, man. It was my family. My family was there. Yeah. It meant the world to me to have everybody there, man.
Yeah. It was a hard ticket to get because it wasn't at the Eccles. They should have had the premiere at the Eccles, which is 1,000 people, and the premiere was at the Mark.
At the Mark, yeah.
It did show at the Eccles later, but the premiere
which was sold out.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, because the hype had by then, the word had spread. Yeah. But that was at the Mark was the very first one, and I knew I had to do it. I went with Charlie Jennings, who's a friend of mine. He's an agent at CAA, and we were like, we have to be at Fruitvale.
Dude, it was one of those things where we were in the car, me, Kenny, my manager, Scott Schachter, my agent,
Holly.
Eric, Holly, everybody. Yeah, exactly. We're all like, okay, cool. Like Brett, we got to get Brett a ticket. Brett has to come to this show.
I'm glad I got to see it. Yeah,
sure,
of
man.
course.
Yeah, dude.
Well, that's the other thing with Sundance too, is there's hundreds of movies to choose from, but there's certain ones you want to see.
Exactly.
And I didn't know it was going to go on to win all those awards. I just was seeing it because you were in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea what I was in for. I was like, oh my god. By the end, I'm like, I think this kid's going to be nominated for an Oscar next year.
Dude, man,
so then, there were certain benchmarks happened. So I know. Well, it's hard.
It's something that every time I hear it, I cringe.
Right. Well, the reason I bring it up is because Weinstein Company bought the movie for $2 million, and Harvey Weinstein lives to win Oscars.
This is very true.
Right now he's getting Jennifer Lawrence an Oscar. Last year he got Meryl Streep and Jean Dujardin Oscars and The Artist. So
he's got a good track record.
He's really good at it. And you know what? He has a bad rap for the politics, but when he's pushing something, it's good. Like I agree with Silver Linings Playbook. I agree with Jennifer Lawrence. So when he's pushing something, it's because he really believes in it and he thinks it deserves it. And so the first benchmark is the premiere, and the second benchmark is Weinstein Company buys it for $2 million, and the third benchmark is it wins the awards. So as each thing was happening, what was that like when you find out that it sold to the Weinstein Company?
I was hearing talks of it was the first bidding war of Sundance this year.
Well, it happened. I think it happened at the party. We went to the party after, and it was already being talked about. I heard Harvey Weinstein's name. It was an hour later. So it was immediate.
Everything was happening
really
pretty fast. Yeah. So I was hearing things from all over the place, not really trying to pay that much attention to one person or one rumor to the next. So I was just kind of just honestly listening to my team and just kind of staying focused on the press, because after the premiere it was just kind of like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
But
Weinstein Company was perfect for it. It's like
it was between I think it was like 3 different companies involved, but Weinstein was kind of the front runner. He was very serious about it, and they went out and they acquired it. And when I heard about it, it was just like, wow, okay, that is amazing.
Yeah. Now people are going to see it.
It's like one of those things where you see somebody's career or see opportunities happen to certain actors, from the outside looking in, and you're like, oh, wow, that's how it happens. Or, okay, cool, that happened pretty fast. Or that was overnight. And then when it happens to you, it's just like, wow, this really can happen.
Yeah.
It's just very... it still hasn't completely sank in.
Yeah.
It's just like something that I'm just kind of, I'm just thankful for, and just kind of, I'm just enjoying the ride.
The ride just started. You're going to be talking about Fruitvale for a long time, for the next year.